right in the heart with a silver bullet.
Yeah. I think they plotting on me. Don't wipe their feet when they enter the lab. I feel a cold stare. Think I ain't looking. Maybe because I'm focused. No hands out for the hopeless. Funny bullets, I caught some shots. Another piece of the puzzle connecting dots. You can find the truth of laughter and liquor. One more shot to an empty bottle. Then she gon' walk in like a model for me. Like I don't see her intentions all in my scope. At a time we were just friends with advice to land. Nothing special, I was dead broke, but we still got hope. Don't take my words, just pack the issue that raw dough. Just pack the issue that raw dough. Pack the issue that raw dough. To the people that listen to my people, they know that I do care. With their hands in the air, rocking side to side. Now my work, yeah, time to ride. Where my niggas at? My niggas ain't my niggas no more. Push me to the back, label to change up swag. I do it for us, I'm pro-black. Don't rock it the shit get. Wouldn't be so all type of African shit. Just rock a table fade, swagger till I'm made. Polo cornrows and fly kicks. Just polo cornrows and fly kicks. Exclusive shit, not get wet. Keep it coming, just don't stop. The revolution starts with shots.
I'm respectful to my people, and I want to represent my people, and I don't want to be a bad representative. I can't be blind, because the blind lead the blind, they all follow the shit.
Now my mama said, baby, act like you got sense. They act like I only act right for Lent. Been living in purgatory, but I'm nosing for heaven. Not sure if I'm getting in, cause I ain't paid a reference. Who looking at me when I ain't looking, judging my character? I can't put down my guard on this planet, back in the camera. Ready for my close-up, the lens gets bigger. Won't play me on BET, cause I am not a nigga. My heart is like a powder keg, ready to explode. Smell like strange food, cause I'm America's cologne. It started with the hello, think you're a nice fellow. You're ballin' like Carmelo, you treat you like Othello. L.A.R. be the star, turn a rapper to a prophet. Bulletproof 306, keep your hands in your pocket. Jordan rules for my life, you contain them, can't stop them. I'm nigga sky high, so the clouds can't drop them. My life is like a miracle, my words are just imperial. I'm edible, I'm audible, I'm digital, I'm visual. Spit like Komodo, go like Bruce Lee, Roy B. And the mean as bad as Mofo in the dojo. Life is so amazing and raps like Jesus. They said hip hop is dead, but today look like Easter.
Now I wake up in the morning, I'm black and handsome as ever. However, you see me as strange fruit, will that ever happen, not again. A crooked just a homicide, he know it's self-defense. But since I'm black and since he white, he got no common sense. That's 1969, and he ain't Jesus Christ. He ain't coming back on Easter, he ain't got a second life. You know I'm right? Hold up, look. Now the sirens in my window here, pull it over. License and registration, gun ain't never in the holster. Plus, that man black too, he wanna act too. A nigga with an attitude and a badge too. A couple tattoos, hoping I act a fool so he can squeeze too. But it ain't nothing different, they the same thing. They pull him over, he gon' get the same thing. Maybe 2 up in his brain, 21 gun salute. Last words was I'm a copy, last heard fuck you. And he ain't coming back, you know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone. And now she on welfare. Lost here, daddy can't live there. So we ain't there, and life ain't fair. But the food free, and the rent cheap. His roaches where you sleep. He still came around and taught you baseball. Bought a Barbie doll, he raised all of y'all. And now the kids adults, they both up in the court. She want that child support, he on that child support. But he ain't never taught him baseball, and she ain't never bought him Barbie dolls. They both never there, no, never, not at all. Saying, well, pull your pants up, girl, why your ass out? They looking back saying, why, y'all ain't up in the house? You got it backwards, don't you? I'm saying, cause we still preaching unity. And it's supposed to be family first in community. Got it in church to $1 for your blessing. We made God's image, thinking with Satan's mind. They got us crossed up, now Judas is Caesar. America bury me, but I ain't coming back for Easter. Yeah, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line, but when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line, but when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone.
Yo, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. Y'all see the topic, Black Manosphere Show of the Week. Hold up, let me see if I could adjust a little bit. That we back in business, right? So, now, through a few conversations, a few thoughts, I wanted to bring into the consideration, what if there was no Black Manosphere? Let's just be candid about some things. Some of these things you might think, yeah, I can see that. And other things you might say, he put a little sauce on it. Depends, right? It's all relative. But since I've been in this space pretty much since the beginning of what we call quote unquote 2.0, and I was watching 1.0. I've noticed some things over the years that we don't talk about, and a lot of this stuff is right in front of our faces, So, the Black Manosphere did something that we don't really talk about in the sense of Black men supporting other Black men. It was looked at as if that's something that would never happen. Like Black men don't support other Black men. And because this was an online space, and you got to understand, the Black Manosphere 1.0 and 2.0 was created before YouTube was actually paying people, before people was getting monetized. That didn't even exist, right? So people were just making content. And people used to say, hey, y'all just on the internet complaining, y'all talking this, y'all talking that, blah, blah, blah. What are y'all actually doing? What does it actually do? What can actually come from that? And along the way, they monetize channels. And then, some way people started, super chat started going on, right? And shout out to O'Shea, the Sunday Rumble. Prior to that, we were talking, and we had this talk about him wanting to kind of compete with, was it 7 Kings or 4 Kings? I forget what it was, but a kind of a white manosphere website, right? And it's and I was telling him, it don't have to be like theirs. You just got to be like yours, just cater to, you're a Black man, just do what Black men do. It'll happen. And it was kind of like a stepping out on faith, right? That let's see if Black men will support other Black men. And lo and behold, if you're talking something that Black men wanted to hear that hasn't been talked about, brothers will support you, to the point where people could stop actually working a job and do this for a living, right? So that changed the whole dynamic, the dynamics of YouTube, or Black YouTube in particular, and Black men in particular, because the Black Manosphere was always something off to the side. You get what I'm saying? And now we got to talk about it like, okay, it's a serious thing. Is the space still shadow banned? Yes. are people are way bigger offline than they are online. That's just a reality, right? And you see other people who channels blow up, and I'm gonna get into that later, but you got to take into consideration that the idea of supporting somebody saying something that you wanted to hear, YouTube, they used to throttle down people's views. So that's part of the super chat thing. Well, let's see if you can get money from whoever you got. So with the Black Manosphere show was black men support other black men. And we like to talk about black business and supporting other black businesses. It's funny, but black men have showed online that we support other black men. And there's no more questions about it, right? There's no more questions about it. People have written books, people support it. People have had courses, people support it. People have made, what do you call it, apparel that people support it. People have done a bunch of different things, stemming from the Black Manosphere. People have rented out their services to other people, right? And people have started their own like business entities into other industries that brothers have supported and participated in. So when it comes to networking, you can't say nothing about this space. Brothers did exactly what they said they was gonna do: was create a space, grow a space, and true be told, our space is really global. True be told, right? So shout out to all the brothers who are not content creators who've been rocking with this space for years. Whether you've been liking videos, sharing videos, super chatting, cash app, whatever you've been doing, y'all showing up all the time for whoever you showed up for. Let people know that, hey, this is something that needs to be supported and talked about. So you brothers really showed up, and they always thought that brothers are absent in everything, right? We just show up for shenanigans, but no, we show up for each other. So that's really one of the greatest things that has come from this space. So if it didn't exist, I don't know what other space would have came up with brothers supporting brothers. And what I mean by that is, because I can't disrespect the pro black space or the Hotep space, however you want to call it, because they support each other. But those were brothers that stereotypically we would say that were either ex-criminals or people who were just lazy and didn't really do anything. Like they're fantastical kind of people. I just hate to say it, but that's the stereotype of them, right? They're really not go-getters. They're really not a blue collar men or white collar men or just entrepreneurial like that. So this space is basically catered to everybody, who, what would Amos Wilson call it? Middle of the road people, like just the regular everyday people, right? So it gave the regular everyday black man a space to go to, whether you like it or not. Because we were all over the place, looking for a male space. We were all over the place. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I'm going to talk about, because this ain't really in no specific order, right? This space and the success of this space, in my opinion, has created other, let's just say, subcultures or subspaces that have created a podcasting boom, whether you like it or not. You get what I'm saying? So, the biggest credit would have to go to Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, for how big his channel blew up during COVID, right? But you got to think about it. The interactions between men and women about dating and relationships, a lot of that comes from this space, because it was always a one-sided argument, a one-sided conversation. That's what this space was predicated on, that we can't have all these one-sided conversations. Thanks, Rod. Oh, appreciate you, Mr. Rogers. You could have changed your name to Aaron, but it was predicated on hearing the men's side of the story. So now you having a lot of these podcasts who are not afraid to tell men's side of the story on anything. Because a lot of the Black Manosphere stuff was seen as salacious. And I get it. There's a lot of it that was. But the reality is, it was a lot of nuanced conversations about a lot of different things. You know, it was relationships, yes, but it was also politics. You get what I'm saying? There was also sports. There was also race. There was also Pan-Africanism, or let's see if Pan-Africanism works. You get what I'm saying? So it went out. There was also networking. There was also business and travel. And now that has expanded, you can say, to the passport bro thing, right? And all of these spaces aren't necessarily together, but they're connected. And I would say the Black Manosphere is the hub that connects different sectors together when it comes to Black men. Excuse me. It's the Juvie juice. Shout out to Juvie though. So we got that going on with it, because now you know, when people started seeing the amount of money that people could make, possibly, then you started seeing all these entertainers and athletes have a podcast. That wasn't really, you know, these panel discussions of people who are not quote unquote in the Black Manosphere, but pretty much it's the same setup, same conversations. And you're seeing people grow and blow up. No hate to nobody. None. But my thing is, would that actually exist? Because we were a group of guys doing a bunch of different things collectively. We are a group of guys doing a bunch of different things collectively. Some guys still in the space, some guys no longer in the space, but doing things as a group. So that becomes a part of the conversation, right? Because there's no other way to say this, but in essence, we're like a content hub for people. If you don't have content, or you can't figure out what kind of content to make, you can look at this space one way or another and find something to make some content out of. Which bridges me to the next part. There are a lot of spaces that are quote unquote anti-Black Manosphere. I don't know if those people would actually exist as content creators if it wasn't for the Black Manosphere. Now you can say the Black Manosphere could be anti-feminism or anti-Black male bashing, right? So we were disagreeing with the negativity put out there about Black men. So now when Black men are making things, people are disagreeing with us, which, okay, that's normal, that's understandable. But the interesting thing about that has been, you know, the people who are anti-Black Manosphere aren't really moving the needle. They like the points that we've made, like over this past decade, they really can't refute the vast majority of them. So I'm gonna just say, and I'm gonna be light about it. You know, I'm gonna say 80% of the stuff we say they can't refute. So people are arguing about 20%, and I'm being generous by saying that they have 20% that they can refute. But would they exist without making, if they could make content without us? I don't think so. I really don't think so. You know, and that becomes a bigger issue. I forgot the brother's book in the other room. I'm if you watching, bro, I never forgot you about that book. But this is just my advertisement right now. Get you some Juvie juice. You hear me? Water. We get down, but to a certain extent. Anyway, let's get back to the topic, right? Because of that, this space's growth, the people who are anti-Black Manosphere or on the side of the Black Manosphere, like not necessarily on our side per se, but kind of adjacent to the space, a lot of them are bigger than all of us. Some people are bigger than us combined, right? As far as their channel size and the amount of people they should be able to reach. Excuse me. But their message, for the most part, is just propaganda that doesn't really, it's pushed hard, but it doesn't resonate. And that's in this space resonates with people, whether you like it or not. And when I say this space has really, really, really grown, I'm gonna get into that part too, because people they try to push us to the side and shoo us like it ain't as big as it is, but it's huge. It's huge. So the anti-spaces wouldn't exist. And the other thing about those anti-spaces, a lot of times us in the Black Manosphere, we stopped arguing with those people. And come to find out, a lot of them were just anarchists, because what they do is they argue all the time, and then they wind up doing what? Not being able to argue with us, and then they wind up arguing with each other. And everybody beefs online, it happens, but that's the gist of what keeps going on. So would they exist without us? No, because even when they step away from us, they got to come back to us to make content. They can't just have their own lane. This is a lane that was created. And, and for y'all who don't know, there was a quote unquote Black Manosphere 1.0. You can say, Sergeant Willie P, because he's still on YouTube. Soul and Black. I was about to say Thugnificent. Thugtician. Captain Solo. It's a few other people. Don Calypso, I know you out there somewhere. But they were like on talk radio and on YouTube, right? And the 2.0 that some of y'all know of, that really started from a female creating a hit list of channels that they wanted to get kicked off of YouTube. And they were Black male channels specifically, right? So all of the people aren't in the Black Manosphere as we know it then and as we know it today, right? But the vast majority of the people that in the Black Manosphere were on that list. There was like 2 or 3 different lists. I wasn't on the first one, so I'm gonna tell you that now. But I think I was on the second one or the third one. Tommy Sotomayor was on that list also. Like he was number 1. It's like him, Obsidian, and maybe O'Shea was at the top 3 of the list. So I'm like, so it was like that. You get what I'm saying? It was like that. So then brothers got together like, look, we're not going to let each other get shut down for some shenanigans, right? So that's how it was created. So people got to know that guys were working together. We weren't doing all the same things, but we were working together as a cohesive unit. And sometimes we beefed, but we got over that, and we continue to make content whether we beefed or not. So that's a whole nother thing. Now, the other part that we got to talk about, if the Black Manosphere didn't exist, how many people that right now that have appreciate that, TJ? Yeah, they were. I don't know if Steve was on the list though. I don't know if Steve was on that list at the time. I could be wrong because there's like 3 lists. But he could have been for sure. But at the end of the day, let me get back to the topics. A lot of the people who are blowing up and have blown up now, men and women, they're following this content strategy and this content model because it's something to talk about. And the reason why, the Black Manosphere gave the everyday man a place to speak. And that's what I'm saying in this sense, as far as content creation. Women were predominantly blowing up doing, in the beginning, it was twerking that I can remember. It was a long time ago. It was twerking and blowing up. Then they were doing like makeup tutorials and blowing up. Some people were doing cooking and blowing up. I think some fashion and blowing up, and like these strawberry letter type of stories and blowing up, right? It was like these men out here doing da 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 da, that type of stuff. And along the way, we came as the counterculture to that. But now what you see, and then you saw people like, let's just say like Derek Jackson. He was like everything that the Black Manosphere was not. Like, no, we're not doing that. But he was blowing up because it was we called it pandering because it was anti what we were doing, right? But he blew up doing it. And people was like, see? Then you had that of course fell apart or whatever, but whatever. But that had its own space. That's what I mean. In a sense, that's part of the anti-Black Manosphere. You had like the swirling space, which is, it hasn't really, it's like a roller coaster over there, right? But that's an anti-space. People blew up in that space. While we were knocking down their talking points, they kept talking, and it kind of was a clash. And why I'm saying this stuff now is because you got to understand, we were interacting. We were interacting with each other. What you don't see now is the Black Manosphere interacting with these other spaces anymore, because we used to interact with them. So when you see these panels with men and women, that really comes from the Black Manosphere interacting with all of these different types of people. We interacted with the swirlers. We interacted with the panderers. We interacted with the Democrats or the liberals. We interacted with the Republicans or the conservatives. We've interacted with the, what do you call that? With the Pan-Africanists. Let's just say that. We've interacted with the FBA, non-FBA thing. We've done all of those things, right? We've interacted with pretty much the people in business, the people in tech, and some of those people are in the space, So we've had all of these conversations, and when it comes down to the topics that we talk about, we got a great win ratio. So people don't want to come around here, and they don't want us on their stuff because we make other people look bad. You know what I'm saying? So that becomes the issue, right? So when it comes to these other people blowing up, that's part of the reason why you don't see the interaction as much anymore, because it's like, people want a battle that they can win. But as far as people blowing up, you see people in the space who've blown up. You've seen men and women blow up. You've seen men disappear and come back. You've seen women disappear and come back. You've seen people who aren't even in the space. I got to give like Kendra. I mean, because it's two Kendras, Kendra D. You got to give her props, right? Crimson Cure in this space pretty much since day one. And now she's grown and blown up. And then you see the other women that are pretty much in the same vein. You see the Danica Marie's, you see Dee Dee, you see Pink Book Lessons, Cher Sade, Chantel. It's a lot of folks, but you've seen them grow and grow and grow and get big, and it's like, yo, this is dope. To me, it's dope. It's like, yo, you've seen like Lapeef has blown up. I like that. But one of the things that got Lapeef rocking too was that stamp from Kevin Samuels. And Kevin, of course, came from the space, whether you like it or not, right? They asked him to be in this space. This is not where he started. This is where people asked him to be. So depending on who you're talking to, it's either BGS or O'Shea, but they both asked him to be here. So he became a very integral part of this space, and he liked it. So, you've seen like like when Kevin and Lena Turner was cool. Shout out to Dennis Sperling. That's a winner in life. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where you see people blowing up, whether they're in the space or they're kind of adjacent to it, right? And that's dope. Like, whether y'all know, they're not necessarily in the Black Manosphere, but Solo TV 84, shout out to you, Solo. It's all love, bro. Fresh and Fit, he actually introduced them to each other because he thought they would be cool. So, because and Solo was he was a massive part of this space too. You get what I'm saying? So you wouldn't necessarily have a Fresh and Fit without this space. That probably would have never happened, is what I'm saying. Shout out to Steph is cold. Hey man, I'm so happy for Steph. Though. I rarely even text or talk. I like videos on this thing, but I'm always be happy for Steph. Do your thing, dog. But if I'm not like Solo, when he was rocking and rolling, Steph was, Steph was rocking with him a little bit, and Steph blew up. Could that have happened without this space? We don't know. I would, because this space people gravitated to this space. Would you get somebody like AMS blowing up without this space? I don't think so. Shout out to AMS too. Can't deny him, right? He said, we didn't. So that's the whole thing. People keep coming in this space and blowing up. Now, the interesting thing about it is now we've always been a space that shares putting people on and has no issues with that. But we've become more like, nah, we got to vet people because now, appreciate you, bro. Because now we're at a point where this space is one of the few spaces people just show up and say they've been here. I've been here all the time. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, I look, Ray. I ain't tripping on ARC. Shout out to ARC and rest in peace to ARC. I hope his widow and his son are doing well. Yeah. Shout out to Ron Wills. Get better, Ron. Keep getting better. But this is what's going on. Would you have all of this? People have had conventions, because of this space. Would that exist without this space? I don't think so. I really don't. Brothers have changed their image because of this space. All the things that some black men needed to do to better themselves, it's been in this space in a hodgepodge way. Appreciate that, Pat. And I don't know when I'm gonna do this because people had told me that it was difficult to find my book online on Amazon now. So at some point, maybe next year, whatever, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put it on YouTube. I'm gonna make a bunch of videos for each chapter of my book. And so if you ever need the lessons, it's gonna be on my YouTube channel. It's gonna be in a section, just like my albums are in a section. My book gonna be in a section. Be talking about it. But that's a whole nother reference. So where would these people be? Where would some of this stuff be at? I don't know if it would be here. Now, the reason I say that is because you wouldn't see all these content strategies and ideas if it wasn't for the Black Manosphere. Whether you want to talk about the relationship part or the, black female effery, as Obsidian used to say, whether you want to talk about fit, feminine, friendly, as Kevin used to say, if you want to talk about sign language, as Kevin used to say, but it really came from BGS. You get what I'm saying? So you wouldn't have these content strategies. The way that they make reaction videos and implement the content of, black men's point of view or manosphere point of view or red pill point of view, however you want to call it, right? You wouldn't have these content strategies because people weren't really doing it. Let me back up for a second. I don't think you would have a Just Pearly things if it wasn't for the Black Manosphere, because she was trying to, follow Kevin's model to blow up. She actually blew up, but you know what I'm saying? Would that happen? I don't think so. You know, and I'm not. This is no knock on the white manosphere. There's no knock on them guys. You know, it's not at all. Not the 21 convention. No knock on that. No knock on Oh man, what was it? Rouge V. I think it's the guy that Anthony Johnson. I think who did the 21 convention. No knock on none of them guys, right? None. I just forgot the brother's name who wrote the book. Gee, I'm having one of those days, man. I'm having one of those days. But he's a staple in that space. This is no knock to those guys. But the issue is the things that we've talked about affect Black men in particular. And the reason why I say the content strategies and ideas is because we predicted the changes in society. We predicted the changes in the climate. We predicted what was going to go on with the financial system in America. No, not Joker. The brother that wrote the book. God dog it. I lose it from time to time, but she takes a lot from It's Complicated Now. Rollo Tomasi, thank you very much, Rollo Tomasi. I'm glad. I remember the R. I just couldn't get the rest. But no disrespect to him. Shout out to all those guys. But you wouldn't have these content strategies. Like, you could say the same. I would say the same thing in some ways of Saint and Sinner, because I saw him and Queenmaker getting into it, and that just reminded me of the old things that we used to do. When on BGS's BGS for Women, and those conversations we would have at those points. When you saw Angry Man on the Fight Club and all that stuff, that's just, to me, it's just other remakes of the Sunday Rumble. You know what I mean? So the content strategy and the ideas, because we were a little different than the pickup artists, the PUA community. The men's rights activists, the MGTOWs, the white manosphere and the Black manosphere were connected but different. And some people went down their own thing. You get what I'm saying? Went down their own path. And we, in the Black manosphere, we went down our own path because, it was just the way it is. And some of those people that are in our space was in like the MGTOW space or the MRA space, and they didn't like the racism. So the Black manosphere was great for them because they didn't have to deal with that anymore, right? So when we were making content and content strategy, it was about what's going on with us. And what wound up happening is, in America, the world started treating men like they treat Black men. So guess what? We've been the canaries in the coal mine, and now we're just the online canary in the coal mine. It's just we don't get the we don't blow up like everybody else does. That's it. Because if you notice, a lot of the content is regurgitated. Like, you see people, using the same content strategy, the same ideas, having the same topics, speaking the same things that were said from somebody else. And a lot of times people, who are non-Black gravitate to it, because if you can get a person who is more, like, I would use like Fresh and Fit. They're less urban, more suburban, right? Or the people who, even with the Andrew Tates and stuff, I don't know if that would work if it wasn't for the Black manosphere, because we had a standout thing. And the reason I say that is because they had to, like, the white manosphere had to respect the Black manosphere. We wasn't dissing them, but we was all doing our own thing. They were doing theirs. They were definitely bigger as far as their, like the 21 convention and all that other stuff. They were definitely bigger with that, right? But what we were doing, people had to take notice, to the point where, I see our content and I hear our content on radio shows. If you listen to the radio, you hear content that came from the Black manosphere. If you look on social media, you'll see people who make content that really came from the Black manosphere. If you look at reality TV, you hear some of the talking points for the Black Manosphere. If you listen to some of these content creators some of these podcasters, if all else fails, what do? They figure out a way to throw our content in there and flip it their own little way. So what you're seeing is us just in different forms from different people. You get what I'm saying? Kind of like how others co-opt the hip hop. Yeah, yeah. But this is predominantly Black people. Like you see the Black Manosphere, like I've got this thing where I don't go to church, but I listen to a lot of church stuff. And in the last 4 or 5 years, the church didn't sure got a whole lot of red pill. And we used to talk about how the church was always catering to women. And now all of a sudden, Pastor sure sounds red pill to me, right? You got to get some of these men back in the church. The Cowboys lost. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, I'm a hater of the Cowboys. I'm just a hater. But that's a thing also, Yeah, pastors may be actors, but you even see it in the shows. You see it, in the shows like, okay, we see what's going on. It's changing now. But let me take it a step further. And this is probably something I should have talked about earlier, but it's one of the most important things. If there was no Black Manosphere, I don't think you would see this Black advocacy for Black males. I really don't, because, shout out to BGS for bringing the PhDs into space. So shout out to Dr. T.S.on Johnson. Shout out to Ronald Neal. Shout out to Green Gorilla. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all, shout out to Kosher Clinician. I ain't never forgot you, brother. Don't ever think that, But these scholars that come to this space, they came to this space for a reason. It existed. It was something that they gravitated to too, right? And one of the reasons they were gravitating because of the constant advocating for Black men, because that's something that didn't go on. That's something that didn't go on in our community. There's something that didn't go on politically. There's something that didn't go on in our schools. There's something that didn't go on, and we don't want to say that. That's something that didn't go on in the homes, right? So that's something that didn't go on in the church. So when you see brothers advocating for Black men, it's like, yo, okay. And we were harsh sometimes. We were real sometimes. I remember I think me and O'Shea did a show talking about one of the brothers that got shot by the police in Sacramento. And I remember one of the people on the panel was upset at me because I was like, dog, he was going to get shot. And it was like, well, what's wrong with you saying that? I'm like, listen, man, if you're a Black man and you running from the cops and you basically run in the dark behind a house and the cops are not Black, the minute they get in that area, they might let off on you. And it was just like letting people know, like, yo, we got to be honest about what can happen to us if we put ourselves in certain situations, right? But at the same time, we were advocating for, these boys need to be treated better. We talked about the My Brother's Keepers initiative and how, it got derailed by the quote unquote the mothers and the women in our community not wanting it. We talked about Detroit 300 prior to that being derailed like that. So we having issues. It was part of the men's rights activist thing where we were talking about, fathers' rights, family court issues and all that. So people weren't used to people advocating for Black men. They weren't. It's very difficult. Like even the whole political spectrum about, what are we getting out of it? You see where that's going, You see Black men, they keep saying more and more Black men are going to vote Republican, or voting Republican. And you see in the community kind of like, ooh, what's going on? And where that came from was predominantly the Black Manosphere saying, why do we keep voting for these policies and they don't help us? Why? We're helping people who aren't helping us. So forget it. Either we're going to go to the, protest by going to the other side or go independent, but we're not gonna keep doing the same thing and getting this trifling result. So you see black men like, yo, you gonna have to come, you gonna have to bring something to the table. And you're seeing people go, oh, we got an issue. We got an issue. So that's a whole other thing. Think mental health and black media. That's part of it. So, because people don't realize you have young black men who are teenagers watching the Black Manosphere. Sometimes they take on the good stuff, sometimes they take on the bad stuff. But they're watching and they're like, oh, this is what's going on. This is what's going on in my house. This is what's going on in the classroom. This is why I'm going through this. This is why nobody's telling people stuff, right? So what you're seeing is a bunch of people who, how can I put this? You're seeing a bunch of pseudo uncles giving young men game on how to navigate life. That's what you're seeing. So and you're seeing guys with different occupations. You're seeing doctors, you're seeing lawyers, you're seeing longshoremen, you're seeing mechanics, you're seeing we got remote workers. You're seeing a lot of different brothers doing a lot of different things, right? Doing a lot of different things. Entrepreneurs, whatever. And even in some of the people who are anti-Black Manosphere, you seeing those guys and their occupations, and you're like, oh, wow, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, I could do that. So it opens up the idea that, okay, all these black men aren't dusty. All ex-military, I'm sorry about that. Appreciate that. So you're seeing how people are navigating life, and you're like, okay, for all the people who thought it was just sports and entertainment, you're seeing, oh no, it's truckers, it's correctional officers, you get what I'm saying? This is a bunch of different stuff. So now it's like, oh, okay, you got people in the crypto space, you got a lot of different stuff. So now you're seeing black men advocate for black men in different industries, and it's like, oh, okay, so we're more the spectrum is wider than people thought. We're more vast, and we're not monolithic, right? So you wouldn't see that as much anymore, because it was like sports, entertainment, ministry, sports, entertainment, church. That's pretty much the gist of it, right? Now, the other thing, I don't think you would have this global conversation if it wasn't for the Black Manosphere. I really don't. Because now you see so many guys emulating the Black Manosphere, not in America, but in the UK, in Africa. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, you get people in the Middle East, what Black Americans need to do. Bro, you don't even... Wait, time out, bro. Time out. I don't know how many girls went to Dubai that's black to see you, but you don't know nothing about Black America. You just jumping on this thing, ain't you? But you see that over and over and over and over again now. So now we're at that point where the conversation is global. And because the conversation is global, and because the black community is always looked at as the community for debauchery for the world for some odd reason, because, oh, I listen to rap music, and that means all of y'all are killers. And it's like, calm down, Playboy. But it's like the Black Manosphere has been in some ways fighting feminism. So now it's like, this is what's going to happen if this keeps going. You get what I'm saying? So now we have that. So now, you got people in Africa like, yo, we see what's going on. You got people in the UK, we see what's going on. You got people in Central and South America, we see what's going on. You got people in the Middle East, we see what's going on. And okay, well, and has it helped or made things worse? Good question. The Black Manosphere has helped men, absolutely, but it's probably been very hard on women who try to use men. That's pretty much the gist of it. The Black Manosphere has helped Black men out of depression, out of being suicidal, making better choices in life, making better relationship choices, you know, being able to deal with the ups and downs of life as a Black man definitely helped Black men. But what is the sprinkle lady, right? For people, for the ladies who want that sprinkle, we haven't been real good to y'all. Y'all just ain't gonna make it. We didn't put brothers on too much game. You ain't finna sprinkle me, like what? You know. So that's one of the big issues. So at the end of the day, yeah, man, it's been a net positive, really. The Black Manosphere has brought a global conversation and been the foundation of a global economy that people use now. To the point where, let me say, and I forgot to say this earlier, people are showing up online, not showing their face, and just, I'm Black Manosphere. Oh, let's talk about this relationship stuff. And it's like, oh, time out. Do you realize the Black Manosphere, the reason why the Black Manosphere exists, not exists, but one of the biggest reasons for this success is partially the relationship talk. And what I mean by the relationship talk is whether you are in the pro-Black sector, whether you're in beauty, whether you're in politics, whether you're in religion, whether you're in, what do you call that, fashion, sports, gossip, celebrity, no matter how you slice it, whatever cooking, no matter what it is, at some point, all roads lead back to people relationships. So this space has used a relationship to go out into different spaces, while other spaces have to come to this space to talk the relationship part. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying about the camera thing. It's like people. What I mean is, the Black Manosphere, like, there are women who, like, let me say this. Who is a dope big content creator? Chrissy. She's big. I remember when she, in the beginning, like, Sergeant Willie P actually co-signed her in the beginning. You get what I'm saying? She didn't even have like maybe 500, 800 subscribers at the time. The colorism thing and all that, right? So I'm not, and that's kind of 1.0, but Chrissy Sarge brought men to Chrissy, and Chrissy made the Divine Dark Skin magazine, which was dope. And then it had the colorism conversation. She blew up and it went to some other spaces or whatever that is. It's not really my business, not my issue. But what I'm saying is, in some ways, she might not have been as big as she was if it wasn't for the Black Manosphere or people in the Black Manosphere supporting her in the beginning. Not in the end, but in the beginning. No, she wasn't really from the gossip sector in the beginning. It was her thing was that, like, she wanted Black women, dark-skinned Black women, to get more of a positive image because she didn't feel like there was. And I get it. So, but it was that. I'm sorry, I'm tripping. But that's a whole other thing, right? What's good, fam? So part of this stuff is, what I'm saying about other people showing up, is, simply put, you can't be a food. You know how you have these food channels, like people are getting into it with the Keith Lee thing. Shout out to Keith Lee. It's all good. But you can't be a food critic and not show your face and not show the food. You get what I'm saying? And not show that you've been to the restaurant and you just talking, oh, I went somewhere and I ordered this and then it was all right, or it was great, or it was trash. Like, dude, I don't see you, the food, or the restaurant. I don't know if this is real. But with the relationship part, and this could be a bad thing, you got men and women who just show up, and it's like, oh yeah, let's talk about relationships. You're not in a relationship. You don't really get into relationships. Let's talk about marriage and divorce. You ain't trying to get married. You ain't trying to get divorced. Let's talk about kids. You don't have kids. You ain't trying to have kids. It's just people show up, right? So too many people have got involved over the years and like, oh, I'm in a space, and it's like, hold up, player. Are you in here to troll or make us look bad? Or you actually got something to say? So that's what I meant earlier when I was talking about the vetting process, because this is one of the few spaces where people just hop in and hop out, because other spaces have had a bigger issue with like scammers and scandals. The Black Manosphere don't have, knock on wood, the Black Manosphere don't have these issues that other spaces like the pro-Black space has with scammers and scandals, like the pandering space has with scammers and scandals, like the Black business entrepreneur space have with scammers and scandals. So it's like, yo, we don't have these issues, but we try to protect it so people don't come in and create these issues by just showing up and saying, I've been here. And it's like, don't nobody know you, player. And don't nobody know if your talk is real, because people have to verify sometimes what they say and do, because people make up stuff to have a channel, right? So you got to watch that. But if it wasn't for the space, people wouldn't feel comfortable talking about some of these things in the first place. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the link in the chat if anybody want to come up, but I'm just doing like one person at one-on-one at a time. I ain't finna do a panel. I don't think I'm ever doing a panel again with multiple people unless I'm on somebody else's channel, because what happens is people get on the panel and they all off the subject, being catty, talking sideways to people, getting personal, and in a trifling way. So I'm just gonna be straight one-on-one from this particular point on. But when it comes to it, and do me a favor, like if I know who you are, I ain't tripping. But if I don't know who you are, I'm gonna need to see you in the back chat, or you have to have a picture on your thumbnail or something, because we ain't finna get into these problems. I got you, LaShawn. What's good, fam? You can unmute.
Really, bro. Honestly, you was underlining the simple fact is that we are decent Black men. We ain't doing nothing wrong, but we catching L's from everywhere, and we didn't even make the moves. I mean, we majority, but we ain't even counted. And the thing is that the Black Manosphere, 10 years ago, was there one?
Yeah, but it was, it's just starting out. The one that we know of today, it was just starting out.
Now, Black men's voices matter. And you know what? We grew up when our voices didn't matter. And now it does. And everybody who's complaining about it, they're used to Black men not being an important part of, but you still having Black babies. Who did you sleep with? It wasn't a Black woman. And a lot of decent Black men is just called what they get called. We do what we have to do. And then now due to DNA, we finding out it's more than 30% that ain't the father. We just ain't got the government thing, because they only do that every 10 years. And they gonna scrub the numbers.
The census is gonna get interesting. I can say that for sure.
Yes, sir. And yeah, you is touching on all that, but I'm just trying to talk to the common folk, because the common folk, common folk is the reason why the wheels got grease. You ain't the machine, you the grease that, it's just the grease that lubes the wheels. And they don't even understand it, but then they sit there and they just listen to whatever banter is coming out, and then the thing is when they realize they just greasing the wheel, they can't stop the wheel. Because you know what? We can be a cog and stop everything. They the grease. They still gonna get rolled through. And the problem is there's a lot of people who ain't gave themselves a chance to be a cog. L.A.R, you're a cog. If you go ahead and put that piece of wood between them wheels, you're gonna stop everything and make everybody think.
I'm gonna just say, Cameron, to tell you, pause.
Yo, look, man, you legit, and I'm glad you're doing this one-on-one because see, the great thing is I've been trashed on the panel, but everybody's get ticked off because they don't want to think about the question. But then sometimes, you know what? You one of the few black men where I can give you a compliment and you ain't cussing me out because I sat there and said you're doing a good job. I respect the good work you do.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to drop you down because somebody I see Mr. Rogers in the back too.
Compliment and you can appreciate it without cussing me out. And then there's a whole bunch of cuss words and adjectives and stuff, you know. But it's like, so y'all cussing me out because I gave him respect.
Hey,
and
man,
that's when you know you're dealing with a real black man when he can give respect and he sees another man respect him and he accepts that respect and he gives the same respect back. That's the black manosphere in the purest form. Now, what everybody else is doing, saying they is the ragtag trying to jump on the bandwagon and they getting dragged in the dirt, but they got a hold of the wheel and they flopping on that wheel, but they were along for the ride. But in the truest form, that they can't deal with it because everybody want to make it to fit what they want to live, but the road you riding on is like the road we got to ride on. There ain't no tag-alongs, there ain't no bandwagon stuff, because we got to go ahead and change our complete image that Hollywood, black women, and major media in the news has presented black men in America to the world.
Now let me I gotta let you go because I got somebody else in the back.
No. That was all I had to say. I was about to drop off.
But I appreciate
honestly, man, you is putting that idea in their head, and I'm glad you're doing it because it's time for us to do that. And I appreciate it.
Peace. Mr. Rogers, what's up, man? You can unmute yourself. Uh-oh. I think he walked away. Question. Sugar Bum, you can come up if you want. Well, in 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, he's out. Peace, man. So, I don't know how to. He might find out that I had him in here later. I'm gonna kick him out of the studio because if you want to come back up, you'll come back up and let me know you was in here for this. So ultimately, man. yeah, we went back 1 hour today. Ultimately, I mean, you can say, something could have came out of, maybe something like the Black Manosphere could have happened 5 years ago if we didn't exist. Who knows? But that didn't happen, So, for me, my utmost respect goes out to, BGS, Hitmore, O'Shea Duke Jackson, Angry Man, and Obsidian, because they're pretty much the 4 pillars of this space, whether you like it or not. For some of y'all who don't like it, that's your problem, not my problem, right? We've had a lot of great guys in this space. We've had a lot of guys who wind up being not so great guys in this space, but whether you like it or not, this space has actually done a whole lot of good. and created a bunch of different things and a bunch of different avenues. And I don't think I ever said shout out to Minister Jap. So I'm sorry about that. Shout out to Minister Jap. You know. Um, hold on, Mr. Rogers. I got you. You there?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that, L.A.R.
No problem. No problem.
Hey, man. And I'm new to this channel. I saw you on Dr. Thunder, and I was like, man, that he's been having some solid points, man. Almost like on an AI level, man. You going rapid pace, man. So much shout out to you coming from L.A. Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Got a great channel, man. And like I'm a music teacher myself. That's why I kind of gravitate to Dr. Thunder style, and I'm like, okay, let me pull out my cheat sheet, and save me a couple of years, because that brother's been through it. Matter of fact, you were mentioning how one of the streamers, they were attacking a bunch of Manosphere content creators. They put out a whole ad against Dr. Thunder on one of those. It was a major news outlet too.
I remember that.
I was like, wow.
That's this space can help you deal with that, because people go through stuff like that. People have been doxxed. People have, been fired. People have been followed around. You get what I'm saying? People have messed with other people's lives and livelihoods behind making content. And truth be told, more times than not, I won't say 9 times out of 10, I say like 7 times out of 10, it was really unwarranted. It wasn't really something that would make you go, oh, we need to do something to that person. Normally, it was just somebody got offended, a hit dog hollered, and then they was like, I'm gonna try to ruin your life type of stuff. So, but
right.
So
and I think one of the things that helped the Manosphere sustain was just not being being relentless, and not giving no mercy, I guess, if you will, and no pushback when it came to feminist ideology. Like you said it plain and square. It may have a kind of anti-feminist tier to it, but that's not the circumference. That's not the main focus or sphere of what we talk about. I mean, when you mentioned Green Gorilla, looking at his videos, Dr. Neil, which is honestly why I actually started coming into the Manosphere myself. Some of my former professors are scholars within that domain. Keith Claybrook, and you have some that are not really, online, if you will, or content creators, but these brothers are on the news, fighting for reparations, if you will. Really pushing our agenda, black male teachers in the classroom, so forth. Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, he's major in that field. He's gotten stuff on the books. I remember a video, and I'll wrap it up. Dr. Neil did when it came to Michael B. Jordan, when old girl had clowned him right on the red carpet. And I just remember, because I'm 33, and so I guess you can look at me as coming in that Manosphere 2.0, maybe a little. I'm like a mid-grade, upper millennial, if you will, and I'm looking at, okay, like, we getting all this information. Now everything is moving rapid pace. What are we going to do with it? I came in the Manosphere with that kind of edge and coming up under a couple of these brothers' wing. And so I'm like, when I saw the way people didn't just give in to the way, the reporter just kind of blatantly just clowned him and almost took him, Michael B. Jordan, back to that feeling of, where, when we've all had that experience in the classroom where it's okay, you may not be a complete square, but somebody's going to rule you out. They're going to say, put you under the books. You know what I'm saying? And he just he countered that. He countered it. And the Manosphere was clearly on point, sync step line for line, all data points when it came to not giving in. You could say the same thing for Andrew Tate too, but I focus in on that Michael B. Jordan incident because, you know, that it just could have been whatever. Like, okay, she said what she said, but he made his statement clear, you know, as an alpha male, whatever you want to call it. But it was just a kind of great book example of how we need to kind of handle these media relations. But thank you, man. Appreciate you for having this.
Appreciate you, man. Peace. I got you.
Hey.
I got you there.
Hey, nephew, what's up, man?
You got to cut off. You got to cut off background.
Hold on a second. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, nephew, it's been a long road, bro. Since we first met online back in 2018, man. Yeah, I've seen a lot of changes and everything. You know, I've been on like several panels. We talk about all sorts of different stuff. You know, and I thank you for being a good mentor for me in this space. You and Super Sly 75. I remember it was because of O'Shea that I first met you and Sly. You know what I'm saying? On the Manosphere and the Google Hangouts and the Rumbles. And like I said, I missed those Rumbles. And then I managed to be able to like hook up with some other young men in the space. And I began to see the growing brotherhood in the space as well. You know, even me and Obsidian got a good growing brotherhood, even though we saw like the Abbott and Costello of the space. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I wish it would have been there for that Manosphere meetup in Atlanta, but I had some job things to do here in Dallas, Texas, man. But I like the way that the space is growing. You even got, you know, young men coming up like, you know, DJ Kuda and others, man, you know, adding their content. Even got some sub manospheres like the Select Manosphere with Ron Wills, ARC, and Cousin Tito and Pimp God. And you got the Macosphere with DJ Kuda and Platinum Elite and Sir-Ism. And DJ Kuda helped me get hooked on microphone game and all that. You know what I'm saying? That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's his thing. That's his thing.
And then I was
I'm gonna have to let you go because you doubled. You didn't cut the YouTube on. So.
Hold on a second. I thought it did.
No,
I thought it did cover.
I'll catch you later.
All right, then. You take it easy, nephew. You want me to be on the panel, just holler at me, all right? All right. Peace out.
Peace. Yeah, she called him a cornball. Yeah, that stuff happens. You know. Let me see. So what I'm gonna do now? You know, I've been up for what, an hour, some change. So I'm gonna shut it down, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Somebody pop up, you know, I give you like, let me see, 20 seconds. If somebody pop up in the back chat, 20 seconds, I got you. If not, I'm gonna shut it down. So I'm gonna just say 10 left. Well, as Russell Simmons would say, thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night.
This looks like a job for Superman.
Do this, spoken from the lips of the young or the old, fear of me. Yeah, gotta put it all in. And they are Superman all the way. I guess I'm taking off the cape through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I talk, I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the kings of neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed with salt, mixed with freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you should follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound. But I can't stand fair weather friends, and I just fly around. My super friends in Justice League, only folk I kick it with. shit. Kids play games and adults play for keeps. And me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke, then again, it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. Saga of the kryptonite, life just ended. You enjoy listening? Man, I'll finish it. Lois, come holler at me. I got an iced couch. Thank you for coming out. Listen, I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.